Hi, Bob.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
Okay.
I don't know how I became the host. I'm waiting for Rabbi Green.
You must have pushed the host button.
Yeah, I must have.
Did you
Okay.
sign in? Bob,
Huh?
when you went on, you probably signed in, and that made you the host. That means Rabbi Green can't get on.
So I'm going to end this and go and see if I can get out.
Yeah, but you
Okay.
end it, you're going to end everyone. Everyone's going to be off.
I'll be on this. There's only an end button. So unless I end it, let me get off. Maybe it's waiting to get on now.
If we all leave.
All right, well, Erwin, we have to sign back in, that's all.
Okay, so everybody leave.
All right, everyone off. Okay, Bob, get out there. Thank you. All right, pause there. Oh, finally. Rabbi Green.
Okay, I'm back.
I'm here also. Rabbi Green, are you there? No, I don't think so.
How about now? Can you hear
Oh,
me?
there he is.
There we go.
Okay.
Now we're good. Now you're on.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. Very good.
yeah, we found out why you couldn't get in. Okay.
All right. They just put something about a waiting room, and then I have to let the people in.
Right.
Okay. All right, guys. Okay. We'll get started. We finished the bottom of Kaf Chet Amud Beis, pretty much, right? So I'm just going to sort of pick up a little bit from there, and then we'll go into today's daf, which is Kaf Tet Amud, right? Okay, so I'm going to mute you unless, okay. Okay. All set. All right, so I'm starting about 5 lines up from the bottom on Kaf Chet Amud Beis, right? Amar Rav Yosef, Hainu de Tanina, Shlosha al Shlosha, Matzum Tzamot, where he says, Rav Yosef is saying that we had learned this in regards to a piece of cloth that was exactly 3 by 3 finger breadths. V'lo yadana l'mai hilchata, says Rav Yosef. And I wasn't sure to what this particular law applied. Rav Ada bar Ahava, and as was explained by Rav Ada bar Ahava, Aliba the Rabbi Yehuda, as according to the view of Rabbi Yehuda, Shmamina ka Rabbi Yossi Svirale. It would appear, he says, that he holds like Rabbi Yossi. So the Gemara now asks, Umi amar Rav Ada bar Ahava hachi? Did Rav Ada bar Ahava actually say this? V'hamar Rav Ada bar Ahava. So what did he actually say? And now we go on to today's daf on top of Kaf Tet Amud Aleph. Right? Nachri shechakak kav bebik'at. Okay? Let's say a Gentile hollows out a log or a piece of wood. Yisrael masika b'yom tov. Okay? That a Jew, okay, may use that, okay, to heat his oven with on Yom Tov. Okay? The Divrayim, okay, Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Akiva Ka'amar le, v'le lo savir le. He explained that then according to the view of Rabbi Elazar and Rabbi Akiva, but he did not hold that view himself. Okay. Now, as we continue, okay, remember the underlying question here is the issue of nolad. If something is created and not prepared for Yom Tov, if that's the case, then the issue is that it's considered nolad and not acceptable to be used on Yom Tov. Rabba Amar says, Rabba Hainu Tama the Rabbi Elazar. This is the reasoning for Rabbi Elazar. He says, Lafi she'ein madlikin b'ptila she'ena mechurechet. Why? He says that we cannot kindle with a wick that hasn't been singed, right? Velo b'smartutin she'enan mechurachin. Nor can
Excuse me,
we
Rabbi
use,
Green.
yeah,
Pardon me. Are we doing the right daf for today? It's supposed to be 29 or 30.
yeah, we're on 29.
It's not Lama today, or am I behind?
No,
or
as
ahead?
far, the list that I have, okay, says that today is the 5th, right? Sunday the 5th, and it's 29.
I'm sorry. I apologize for interrupting.
That's okay. Okay, all right. She'enan mechurchin. Okay, that here we're saying about the square, the piece of cloth, right? Also has to be a question of whether that's, if it's not singed. Ela ha, the Tani Rav Yosef, but rather we apply it to the situation that Rav Yosef taught. Shlosha al shlosha matumtzamot. If we have a piece of cloth that is precisely 3 by 3 finger breadths, lemai hilchata. For what does this law apply? So the Gemara says, le'inyan tuma. Maybe it applies to the situation of transferring impurity. It's none, because here we're taught the following in a Mishnah: Shlosha al shlosha she'amru. A piece of cloth that's 3 by 3 finger breadths. Chutz min hamalal, with the exception of the hem of the garment or of the piece of cloth. Divrei Rabbi Shimon. That's the view of Rabbi Shimon. Okay, that it would be. Okay. V'chachamim omrim shlosha al shlosha mechuvanot. Okay. But the sages, on the other hand, say that it's got to be exactly 3 by 3 finger breadths square. Okay, in that case, right? That would then be considered a viable patch, for example, for a garment, and therefore it's like a garment, and it can be makabel tuma. Okay, going on now. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav. Says Rav Yehuda in the name of Rav the following: Mesikin b'kelim ve'ein mesikin b'shivrei kelim. Okay, that he says we can kindle or light an oven, okay, the fire in an oven with a whole utensil, but not with a broken utensil, right? So, Divrei Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Shimon Matir. That was Rabbi Yehuda's opinion, but Rabbi Shimon would permit us to use a broken utensil, right? Now, the point being that he, in other words, permits that broken utensil. It's as if it's a new item, a new utensil, so it would be considered nolad, and therefore Rabbi Shimon permits nolad under this circumstance, that it hadn't been prepared in advance before Yom Tov. Okay. Mesikin betmarin. Okay. So now we're told as follows. One can kindle with dates, achlan, but if he ate, right, the dates, right? Ein mesikin bagarinehen. One is not permitted to kindle the oven with the pits of the dates. Divrei Rabbi Yehuda. That's the view of Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Shimon matir. But again, Rabbi Shimon permits it. Another example, mesikin be'egozin. Okay, that here we would be able to permit the kindling of the oven with use of nuts. Okay, now this may mean nuts, well, so long as their shells are still on them, right? Achlan, but if he ate them, ein mesikin beklipotehen. If they've been eaten, in other words, you break open the nuts, let's say walnuts, for example, okay, one must not eat with their shells. Divrei Rabbi Yehuda. Again, that's the view of Rabbi Yehuda. The Rabbi Shimon matir, and Rabbi Shimon permits it. Utsricha, says the Gemara. Now, it's necessary to cite all of these examples. We might argue, don't they all seem to be the same machloket? And the Gemara wants to explain what the issue is. Utsricha, we said, that necessary. The ashma'inen kamaita, if we had only learned the first case, right? Bahahi ka'amar Rabbi Yehuda mishum de me'ikara kli, right? Because in that case, perhaps Rabbi Yehuda felt, right, it was not appropriate because he was saying that only when it's a whole item that it's really a utensil, initially a utensil. Vahashta sheverkli, and now it's only a fragment of a utensil. Vahava le nolad va'asur, and therefore it's something that is created on Yom Tov, and therefore would be forbidden. Aval tmarim, but with the example of the dates, right? The me'ikara garinin, that originally we say that the pits are included inside the date, right? Vahashta garinin, and now those pits are still there, right? Ema shapir dami. I might say there in that case that's, well, it's fine, it could be permitted. Ve'iyashma'inin garinin. And if we had only learned the second example, the case of the pits, hava amina, the me'ikara, mechasyan, vahashta miglaim. I could have argued and said originally they were covered over, and now they're revealed, right? Right, and so therefore that's why they're not permitted by Rabbi Yehuda. Aval klipe egozin, but the shells of the nuts, the me'ikara miglu, vahashta miglu, that originally they were revealed. In other words, you've got the whole nut there, shell and inside together, and originally uncovered, right? Vahashta and miglu, and now they're still uncovered. Ema shapir dami, I would say that would originally be okay and be permitted, sricha, and that's why it was necessary to recite all of those cases. Okay? Now, let's go on. Vahadarav, and regarding that statement that Rav originally had said, right? Lav beferush itmar. It was not explicitly said by him, Ela miklala itmar, but it was really an implication that was said, namely the following, right? The Rav achal tamre, that Rav would eat dates. Veshada kashaita lebuchya. And he threw the pits, okay, into the, let's call it into the pan or into the stove, right? Amale Rabbi Chia, and Rabbi Chia then said to him, Bar Pachte, excuse me, son of a nobleman. It's his nickname for him. Kinegdo biyom tov asur, doing something like that. Okay, that kind of an act on Yom Tov is forbidden. Kiblamine or lo kiblamine. Did he accept that criticism or didn't he accept that ruling, that criticism? Tashma, listen to the following Braita. The Chi'ata Rav leBavel, that when Rav came to Bavel, Achal Tamre, Vishada Kashaita Lechayuta, that when Rav then came to Babylonia, he ate the dates and he threw the stones to the animals, right? My, what is going on here? Lav b'par saita. Are we not talking about Persian dates, where part of the meat of the date, if you will, part of the fruit was still stuck on to the stones? Velo kibla, and therefore he didn't accept that ruling? Lo, no, says the Gemara. Ba'ar mi'ata, we're talking about Aramean or Syrian dates. O il v'chazi agav imai hu. Okay? Namely, here we're talking about a situation that these kinds of dates, they are acceptable because of the fact that the flesh, if you will, was still there. Even as much as he ate it, some of it was still on the stones. Amar le Rav Shmuel bar Chana le Rav Yosef. And now we have another example. The Rabbi Yehuda, the Amar Masikin Bekelim Ve'en Masikin Beshivrei Kelim. Says Rav, says, right, that according to Rav Yehuda, who held that we can kindle with whole utensils and not with broken utensils. Kevan da adlik baho porta. Okay, so long as you can light, okay, with a little bit of the wick, right? Havale shivrei kelim. That seems to be, okay, that it's still a broken keli and shouldn't be usable. So what happens, right? The key kam mahapach, when he turns it over, be'isura kam mahapach. Okay, to light it with that piece of keli, he's doing something that's forbidden. Okay, so the Gemara says, to explain it, Da'avad the Rav Matana. He's following the practice of Rav Matana. The Amar Rav Matana Amar Rav, who says in the name of Rav, Eitzim shenashru min hadekel, the tanur biyom tov. If you have some wood, some branches of a palm tree with wood on it, and they fell onto and into the stove or into the oven on Yom Tov, what do? Okay, you might argue that is no lad. It wasn't prepared in advance for Yom Tov. So what do we have to do? Marbe eitzim muchanin umasikin. That we then add some additional wood that had been set aside previously. In other words, it was prepared to be used as firewood on Yom Tov in advance, adding that to that other wood from the palm tree, umasikin, and then we can light them. Rav Himnuna Amar, Hacha b'pachot mishlosha al shlosha askilim. Rav Hamnuna said, Our Mishnah, however, when it's talking about that 3x3 piece of cloth, right? Okay, we're talking about a rag or a piece of cloth when it's less than 3x3 handbreadths. Umikuli matlanayot shanu kan. Okay, and therefore we're talking about a situation where it's less than 3 handbreadths, and here the rabbis were lenient in regarding such a rag, right? Va'az the Rabbi Elazar l'ta'ameh, v'Rabbi Akiva l'ta'ameh. And Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Akiva each followed their own view, right? The Tanan, as we learned in a Mishnah, pachot mishlosha al shlosha, right? If the piece of cloth was less than 3x3 finger breadths, shehitkinu lepekak bo et hamerchatz, that one was using this piece of cloth, square piece of cloth, as a stopper, right? To stop up a bath, right? Ulana'er bo et kadera, or one was using it to pour from a pot, okay, from a boiling pot, ulakaneach bo et rechayim, or to clean off a millstone, bein min hamuchan uvein she'ein min hamuchan, whether he had prepared that little cloth in advance or had not prepared it in advance, right? Tameh, it's considered tameh. Divrei Rabbi Eliezer, that's the view of Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Yoshua Omer, but Rabbi Yoshua says in this case, right? Bein min hamuchan uvein shalom min hamuchan tahor. Whether it's been prepared or not prepared, that cloth is tahor. Rabbi Akiva Omer, a third opinion, hamuchan tameh. If it was prepared in advance, then using it that way renders it tameh. V'shalom in hamuchan tahor. But if it wasn't prepared in advance, it would be tahor. Okay? Now, va'amar Ula, and Ula now adds to the following. Ve'itema Rabba bar Chana, amar Rabbi Yochanan, and others say it was in Ula's, not in Ula's name, but in Rabba bar Chana, in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, the following, all right? Hakol modim, okay? Everyone is in agreement. Zarku ba'ashpa. If he then took that little less than 3x3 piece of cloth, although he had used it for these other things, and then threw it in the garbage, divrei hakol tahor. Everybody agrees that it would then be tahor because he no longer considers it a real valid piece of cloth, like a garment or something significant. Okay, let's go on now to the next Amud. Okay, Hainichu bekufsa. But if he put that same piece of 3x3, less than 3x3 finger breadths cloth in a box, for example, okay, or in a pile or heap, divrei hakol tameh. Everybody is in agreement that it would be considered tameh. Okay. Now, lo nichlaku ela shla'o b'magor. Where did they disagree? Okay, they only disagreed if he took that piece of cloth and sort of hung it on the line, on a frame, on something to dry. Okay, o shehenicho la'acharei hadelet, or that he hung it up behind the door. Rabbi Eliezer Savar midelo zarku ba'ashpa da'ate ilaya. Rabbi Eliezer says, since he did not throw it away, therefore his mind is still on it. In other words, he still considers it something worthwhile, suitable, and therefore it would be considered tameh. Umay kare lai shalo min hamuchan. So what does he mean when he says it's not prepared? The lagabe kufsa. It's not prepared to go into the box. Lav muchanhu. Then it's not prepared. Rabbi Yoshua savar midelo hinicho bekufsa. And Rabbi Yoshua says, since he didn't put it in the box, in the container, batule batle, that his mind is off of it, right? He doesn't consider it worth saving, so to speak. Umay kari le muchan. And what does it mean when he says that he considers it prepared, ready? Delagabe ashpa muchanhu, that it's ready to be thrown ultimately into the refuse. The Rabbi Akiva. And what about Rabbi Akiva's view? Right? What's his understanding of the situation? Bitla'o b'magor, that when he hangs it on the frame, on the dryer, savar k'Rabbi Eliezer. He's of the same purview as Rabbi Eliezer. Bahanicho acharei hadelet, but when he just hangs it behind the door, savar la k'Rabbi Yoshua, that he then seems to hold like the view of Rabbi Yehoshua. But now the Gemara tells us something in addition. V'hadar be Rabbi Akiva legabe de Rabbi Yehoshua. And ultimately Rabbi Akiva recanted that particular view to decide according to Rabbi Yehoshua in general. Okay? Mimai, on what basis? Amar Rava, and Rava explains it this way, right? What was the view, right? Midikatani ptilat habeged, since we are taught elsewhere in regards to a wick made from a piece of a garment, a piece of cloth, okay? My area, Tatane ptilat habeged. Why did he teach it in such a manner that he says a wick from the garment? Litne ptila shel beged. He should have taught it a wick that was created from a garment. My ptilat habeged. What is then the language of a wick from a garment? The adayin beged hu. Why? Because it must imply that he still considers it some kind of viable piece of cloth, like a garment, and therefore that's why he holds like Rabbi Yehuda. Matnitin. We get to a new Mishnah. Okay? Now, what is the Mishnah going to tell us? Again, from the same set of Mishnayot that we're learning, of course, that we say every Friday night in Bameh Madlikin. Okay? The new Mishnah. Lo yikov adam shfoferet shel beitzah. Okay? That a person should not pierce an eggshell, right? Which was the example that we could use there. Or we might say a container, a globe of, today we might say, could one even be glass? But in their day, the oil would be put into this eggshell so it could drip, okay, into the lamp. Vayimalena shemen, and fill it up with oil, right? Vietnana al pi haner, and then put it on the lamp. Bishvil shetehe minatefet, so that it will begin to drip. Va'afilu hi shel cheres, and even if the container was made of earthenware. Rabbi Yehuda matir, but Rabbi Yehuda permits it. Aval im chibra hayotzer mitchila, but if the potter, if the craftsman attached it originally, initially, in other words, it made the lamp and the container for the oil, whether it was earthenware, eggshell, whatever, and originally it made it all one item, mutar mipnei shehu kli echad. Why? Because it's as if it is a single utensil. Now the next part of the Mishnah, the Seifa. Lo yimale adam ke'ara shel shemen, that a person should not fill a bowl, okay, or a dish full of oil, v'yitnena b'tzad haner, and place it beside the lamp, v'yitin rosh haptila b'tocha, right, and put the end of the wick, right, or the beginning of the wick, all right, part of the wick into that bowl, into that dish, right? Bishvil shetehei sho'evet, so that it would draw up the oil, right? For Rabbi Yehuda matir, and Rabbi Yehuda permits it. Utzricha, says the Gemara, and we needed to teach both of these statements, both examples in our Mishnah. Why? De'i ashma'inen shfoferet shel beitza. Had I only learned the example of the eggshell, right? Baha ka'amar Rabbanan. In this case, I would have said perhaps the rabbis forbade it. The kevan de lo ma'isa. Why? Because it's not, the eggshell is clean, okay? And it's not a ma'us, it's not a loathsome, terrible thing, despicable thing, right? And the rabbis forbade it. Why? Ate le'istapuke mine, because we're concerned that the person might take, right, on the Sabbath, some of the oil out of that, since the container, the eggshell is clean, okay? And therefore the rabbis forbade it. Aval shel cheres de ma'isa, but an earthenware container, which is despicable, it's loathsome, ema, I would say, modu leila Rabbi Yehuda, that maybe in that case, the rabbis weren't concerned that the person might take some of the oil, which would affect the flame, right? And they would acknowledge and agree with Rabbi Yehuda. Second case, furthermore, v'yashme'inan shel cheres, and if I had only learned the example with the container being of earthenware, baha, in this case, ka'amar Rabbi Yehuda, it's where Rabbi Yehuda would be matir. Aval bahahi, okay, with regards to the other situation, the eggshell, ema moda lahula rabbanan. I might say that maybe he would agree and acknowledge the rabbis. Ve'iyashme'inin hanach tarte. And if I had said in regarding both of these, the lamp and the eggshell, right? Bahani ka'amar Rabbi Yehuda. In these cases, Rabbi Yehuda is permissive. Mishum de lo mifsak. Why? Because in that case, right, I would say that he would not take anything. Aval ke'ara, but regards to the bowl or the dish, right? The mifsika, where we would say that again, okay, that there is a separation, okay, between them, right? In other words, the eggshell or the cheres, we said could have been attached, but the bowl or the dish is separate from the lamp itself clearly. Ema modeh lahula rabbanan. I might say there, Rabbi Yehuda would acknowledge the view of the rabbis. V'i ashma'inin bahahi. And if I say in this case, okay, with regard to the kli, to the dish or the bowl, bahai ka'amre rabbanan, that's where the rabbis are prohibited. Aval bahani tarte, but with these other two, ema modu la Rabbi Yehuda. I might say that maybe they would acknowledge and agree with Rabbi Yehuda. Tzricha. Therefore, I needed to teach both examples. Now we come to the following part. What about if the eggshell or the cheres utensil, okay, container was attached directly to the lamp? Ve'im chibra hayotzer mitchila mutar v'chule. That part of the Mishnah, right? Tana, says the Gemara, we've learned as follows, right? Im chibra b'sid or b'charisit mutar, that if he had attached them with cement, let's say, or with potter's clay, it's permitted. V'ha'anan yotzer tanan. But here we taught that it was basically done by the craftsman. Isn't that what it's teaching? Ma yotzer. What do we mean by fashioned in that manner? It doesn't have to be specifically by a craftsman. Ke'ein yotzer. As if it was fashioned by a craftsman. In other words, it was firmly attached, okay, to the lamp. That's what we mean, the way a craftsman normally would have done it. Okay. Let's go on now, right? Tanya Amar Rabbi Yehuda. Says Rabbi Yehuda the following. Pam echad, he says one time, Shavtenu ba'aliyat beit Natza belud. We spent Shabbos, right, in the attic of the house of Nitzah in the city of Lud. And what happened? V'heviu lanu shvoferet shel beitza. And they brought an eggshell, okay, assumably they filled it then with oil, umala'anu ha-shemen, right? They filled it with oil, v'nakavnuha, and they pierced it, right? V'hinach nuha al pi haner, and they put it on top of the lamp. V'haya sham Rabbi Tarfon uzakenim, and Rabbi Tarfon and a number of the elders were there. V'lo amru lanu davar, and they didn't say anything. In other words, they didn't forbid it. Amrula, they said to him, Mishum Raya, you're saying this is enough of a citation, enough of a proof? Shani Beit Nitzah Zrizinhe. No, says the Gemara. The household, we could understand one pshat, as the household of Nitzah was Rizin. They were very careful, right, of how they did it. Or we could understand it a different pshat and say, no, the rabbis that were gathered there were Zrizin. They were scrupulous as to how it had to be done, and therefore there wasn't a problem with it. Okay? Now we get another story. Avin Sipura'a, right? Avin was a person from Sepphoris. Garar Safsala Be'ilata'a Deshaisha, right? And what happened was he dragged a bench across the stone floor, La'ila mi Rabbi Yitzchak ban Elazar. And that he did that in front of Rabbi Yitzchak ben Elazar. Amarle, Rabbi Yitzchak says to himself, Ish tukilach, if I'm silent, if I don't say anything, okay, to Avin, right? Kigadesh tiku lechavraya, the Rabbi Yehuda, as were the colleagues silent towards what occurred with what Rabbi Yehuda said, nafik minei chorba, maybe some dastardly thing, terrible thing will come about. Gzera alita deshaisha, okay? And therefore they made a decree regarding the stone floor, atu alita de alma, okay? Lest one behave and do it on a earth floor of the attic. Reish, so that's the case. Reish, another story. Reish Kanishta de Batzra, the head of the synagogue, the head of the Jewish community in Batzra, another town, Garar Safsala Le'ila Rabbi Yirmiyah Rabbah. He dragged again a bench, okay, on Shabbat, okay, in front of Rabbi Yirmiyah Rabbah. Amar le Kaman, he said to him, according to whom are you do you think you're permitted to do this? Rabbi Shimon, according to Rabbi Shimon. Emar, the Amar Rabbi Shimon, but I will tell you that when Rabbi Shimon said this, Bigadolim delo efshar b'ktanim mi'amar, he said that only regarding larger utensils, larger furniture. Smaller furniture, did he really say this? Upliga de Ula. And this disagrees with the view of Ula. The Amar Ula, where Ula said, Machloket b'ktanim aval b'gdolim divrei hakol mutar. Where Ula said the only argument on dragging furniture, items, was in regards to smaller items, but with regards to larger items, everyone says it's permitted. Mativ, Metiv, Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef challenged this and says, Rabbi Shimon Omer, Rabbi Shimon says, Gorer Adam Mita Kisei V'Stafsal. If a person were to drag a couch, let's say, or a chair, or a bench, ubilvad shelo yitkaven la'asot chirutz, so long as it wasn't their intent to make any kind of a furrow. Ktane gdolim, ktane katanim, kashla travayu. One teaches in regards to larger objects, one teaches in regards to smaller objects, but it's a problem for both of them. Ula metaretz latame. Ula explained it according to his reasoning. The Rabbi Yirmiyah Rabbah metaretz latame. And Rabbi Yirmiyah the Great explained it according to his view. Ula metaretz latame. Ula explained it according to his view. Why? Mita dumia de kisei. Namely, he said that the couch was a small couch, and therefore it was very similar to a chair. The Rabbi Yirmiyah Rabbah mataretz latame. And Rabbi Yirmiyah said he explained it according to his view. Kisei dumia de mita. Namely, that it was a large chair and that it was similar to a couch. Now, Metiv Rava, this is Rava, a different statement. Mochrek sut, okay, one who sells, right, clothing, and these clothing are kilayim, okay? In other words, they're forbidden mixtures. Mochrin kedarkan, may sell them according to the normal manner to Gentiles. Bilvad shalo yitkavein, and so long that he doesn't have an intent with these garments, bechama mepnei hachama, to protect himself from the sun during very sunny weather, or winter or summer weather, gishamim mipnei hagishamim, or to protect himself from the rain during the rainy season. Vahatznu'im, but people who are more modest, right? Mefshilin b'makel la'achureihin. Those individuals suspend the garments on a stick, okay, on a long pole, and they hang it behind them, okay, so that they don't wear it, they're just holding it. Vahahacha, the efshar mi avad kitsnuim. But here in our case, okay, of the issue, right, of grira, okay, of dragging, right? Or even better, in our case, of the question of using oil and lighting. Isn't it possible to act like the more pious people? Okay? Namely, the chikatanim dami, okay, and act in regards to grira, to the dragging as regarding all smaller objects. V'chi lo mitkavein, and if one doesn't intend to make the furrow, shari Rabbi Shimon lechatchila, where Rabbi Shimon permits it initially, tiyuvta the Rabbi Yehuda, the Rabbi Yirmiyah Rabbah. This seems to be a proof text then against the view of Rabbi Yirmiyah tiyuvta. Indeed, it's a proof text against him. Okay. We'll pick up and we'll continue just a little bit further. Matnitin, our new Mishnah, says as follows: HaMechabet haner mipnei shehu mityarei mipnei nachri. One who extinguishes the lamp because he is afraid of Gentiles. He's hiding in his house and he's afraid that they're searching for him, and that's why he extinguishes the lamp. Umipnei listim, or is afraid of robbers. Umipnei ruach ra'ah, or he is depressed and therefore wants to sit in the dark. Mipnei hacholeh she'ishan, or because some allows a ill person to sleep. Patur, one is exempt. Kechas al haner, if however he put out the lamp because he wants to save on the lamp, right? Kechas al hashemen, or he wants to save the amount of oil. Kechas al haptila, or he wants to save on the wick. Chayav, then he is considered chayav. Rabbi Yossi poter bekulam, but Rabbi Yossi, however, exempts in all those cases, chutz min haptila, with the exception of one who did it in regards to the wick. Mipnei shehu oseh pecham. Why? Because he has created charcoal. He's created something new, again on Shabbat, and that is not acceptable. Okay. Now, we're going to go over a little bit to Lamed Amud Aleph, all right? This is a lot of material, and I'm concerned tomorrow that we'll be able to cover it in the time. So I'm just going to do a short piece from Lamed Amud Aleph to get us started. I will tell you that most of this whole daf A lot of it is Agadita. So tomorrow we should be able to move fairly quickly through most of it. Okay? But just to get us started on the top of Lamed Amud Aleph in the few minutes that we have left. All right? So the Gemara says, Midikatani Sefer, since it's taught at the end, okay, at the end of our Mishnah, right, that we said in those cases, right, it was only Rabbi Yossi that said he was exempt. Otherwise, the Tanakama of the Mishnah said, right, that if he was doing so to save on either the lamp, the oil, or the wick, he was chayav. Sefer chayav, since he said that. Shma mina Rabbi Yehudahi. It must be that the Baal Machloket of Rabbi Yossi, in this case, the Tanakama is Rabbi Yehuda. Reisha b'maya sikna. Then what about the earlier part of the Mishnah? Okay, where it says in those cases that if he was doing it, to prevent being caught by the Gentiles or by robbers, or because he was depressed, or the illness of the person. What about that? What are we talking about there? Particularly the case if it says, okay, in regards to the person who's sick so they could sleep. So the Gemara continues. If we're talking about somebody who is, I'll say, deathly sick, right? Seriously sick, utar mi baile. They should have used the language, all right, that it's permitted, okay? All right, that's what we should have said, all right? And not just patur, right? Ve'i bechole she'en bo sakana. And if we're talking someone who is not seriously ill, chayav chatat mebaile, then they should have said that that person would still be obligated to bring a chatas. Le'olam b'chola sheyesh bo sakana. Here we must be talking then a person who is seriously ill. Ubadinhu, and it seems logical then, v'delitne mutar. Okay, and therefore it would have seemed more appropriate to teach the word permitted. Va'ide debai lemitne sefer chayav. But since it was necessary there in those cases at the end to teach that the person would be chayav, then for literary parallel, tananami reisha patur. Here too, therefore, they taught that the person would be patur, exempt. Vahadatani Rabbi Hoshea, and the fact that Rabbi Hoshea taught im bishvil hachole sheishan lo yikaveh, and the fact that Rabbi Hoshea taught for the sick person in order to sleep that he shouldn't extinguish it. V'im kava, and if he did extinguish it, patur aval asur, it's forbidden, but he's exempt, but forbidden. Hahi b'chola she'ein bo sakana. That is in regards to someone who was sick, but it wasn't dangerously sick. The Rabbi Shimon he, and that's the view of Rabbi Shimon. And we're going to stop right there for today. Have a good day, guys. Okay? And tomorrow at 8:15, we'll continue on Lamed. I was starting there with the first of the Agada sections. Take care.
Rabbi,
Yes,
Rabbi.
Harvey.
Yeah. I looked at my schedule from the Young Israel of Woodmere, and unless I'm mistaken, I have it differently than what you just said, because I have on Sunday, April 5th, 30,
Okay, because mine is the same thing, and I have it listed as 29.
That's on Shabbos, the 4th. I have that
No.
on the 4th. That's why I
No,
asked that same.
I got it,
This we got,
Daf
Yeah.
29, Sunday, 4-5. Oh, maybe you're right. Maybe I'm reading it incorrectly. Okay.
okay, I didn't need to correct you, just,
No,
was looking at-
you know what? I'm looking at it. I see what you're saying. Maybe I'm reading it incorrectly. Okay. All right. So today should have been 30. You're
yeah,
right.
what you have there, what you're looking at is the date, before the date, the 29th. It's the one after the actual date of April 5th.
Yeah,
You're looking
you're
at,
right.
you're going to the left as opposed to the right.
You're right. You're right. You're right, Harvey.
All right. Then we'll have to move quicker tomorrow to catch up to get to 31 then.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
we'll
okay.
keep on moving.
All right.
right.
I apologize, and I will address it tomorrow a little bit more. Okay.
Very good.
Thank
Yes.
you, and I'm glad I have to apologize to Bob Brumberg as well. All
No,
right.
I'll tell Bob. No problem.
Okay.
Okay. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right.
Right. Bye.
Bye-bye.